In a world of wrestling podcasts, this is certainly one of the newest. Thomas S.K. Green and Prince Moxley Lopez bring you Whacked Out Wrestling. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Whacked Out Wrestling for this week in pro wrestling. I'm Thomas S.K. Green, and with me, as always, is Prince Moxley Lopez. And the questions from this week are important. Like, first off, who is more handsome, Prince Devitt or Finn Balor, or Roman Reigns? We can ask this because if WWE is going to make a week of shows that has nothing to do with anything whatsoever, we can waste our time by rating the super hunks of the WWE.
Well, I'll give Finn Prince Devitt, hence Prince Moxley Lopez, wins definitely the abs category.
Mm-hmm.
Like washboard abs, like that's overall look. Are we like really posing this as a question and I'm supposed to answer it? Because I'm like, I know, but
WWE doesn't do anything for it. Why should we do so much for this week? Because the biggest thing on this one was there was just nothing there. Like, really, there was just nothing there this week. It was all built around just getting you to SummerSlam and not much else.
This goes back a few weeks with the Raw thing. After what was the last pay-per-view? Extreme Rules, or was it? Yeah, right. Like they immediately went into SummerSlam mode, and which is fine, except for announcing matches like the Monday after, your previous pay-per-view. And it's just been a drag on the Raw side. You did have another rematch, but now it's a number one contender match between Lashley and Reigns. Like there's been some, but like shit, everything's like I expect the go home show to not be what it used to be. But guys, you still have another Monday to go before SummerSlam, after this past Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really the problem on it, where they have still more time to go before the real go home show, and this was just all go home. And it seems like it's going to get worse before it gets better, because next week they just announced today that while Jonathan Coachman is busy doing his golf career on this one, Renee Young will take his place, making her the first female announcer of a major wrestling TV show, which is a very cool thing, which she definitely deserves. But at the same time, you just know WWE's going to mention it every 5 seconds on Raw next week, because that's what Raw does. They hammer home everything cool they do until it's no longer cool anymore.
Yeah, and I could see, like, mentioned it a few times to a degree.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's so repetitive. It becomes so monotonous, and you kind of tune it out.
Yeah.
Like you just, they take you out of the moment, like out of what's really happening. They do that all on their own. Even if it's something you didn't realize and they point it out to you, like, oh shit, that's cool. And then they say it and say it and say it, like, and you're like, ugh, like, no, quit fucking saying that. Now nobody cares. Renee Young was because you said it so fucking much.
Yeah, and honestly, that's a good plus on it. Where with how they've done in previous things for them, because when they have had stuff like David Otunga or Booker T or Byron Saxton added to the group on it, then you kept going for it. But until you noticed, you'd say, "Hey, wait a minute! They have one black guy in the group for everything, and no one really cares about it. No one notices it as a big thing because you can't really deny any of them deserve the position, and they don't make a big deal out of it, which is a very good thing.
And
It's just
just to backtrack just a tad, what the is Jonathan Coachman doing a golf thing?
I think
Like
he's
when did he become like some golf aficionado or some golf expert?
I think he was also hired by Golf Channel as well as the
Yeah,
as well as
that was the joke of
yeah.
like they want him for his experience or his what fucking experience are we talking about here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
he anchored the nightly Sports Center, but like what? Where's all this? And he's bad. Like I was gonna say, like he's not bad per se, but he's bad.
yeah.
Like he's knowledgeable in the sports world. He's just so bad at translating,
Mm-hmm.
his words or whatever. Like he's very bad at
You forgot
what's
his word
going
of the
through his
week.
head.
He always does that to show us something. So
One more time, I missed that.
you forgot his word of the week. He does well to translate words good.
Isn't this 2 weeks in a row? Because I actually looked for it because I thought they didn't do it last week. His word of the hour, and I looked for it this week, and they never. Because like 3 weeks ago, there was a big to do
Mm-hmm.
where Corey like shut him down. Like, no, we're not doing it. And then they talked over him, and they wouldn't let him talk for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I wonder if like somebody in the back, like, okay, we're done doing this stupid ass word of the hour.
Yeah. I could see that because the big problem with Coach was he wasn't bad before he went to ESPN, but since he got back from ESPN, it just seems like he hasn't watched pro wrestling since 2008 when he left the WWE.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's so out of the he's still acting like he's anchoring, weekend Sports Center
Mm-hmm.
or night Sports Center or whatever, but in a kayfabe environment where it doesn't work.
Yeah. And that's the problem because ideally having a announcer who treats it like a legit sporting event would work well. Like that's why I've always thought that Stephanie McMahon was underrated for her performance at the Royal Rumble because
And
he
and
treated it like it was a real event. She was knowledgeable but not trying to put herself
yeah,
over. And
it does work well. It works great when the person can actually do that job. Have those two faces at the same time. I know what's going on, but I'm also talking to people that don't.
yeah.
People that are hearing my voice. Conveying the story of okay, I'm knowledgeable of I'm already I'm privy to what's going on to a certain degree versus the output I'm going to give to the audience.
Yeah.
The left side of your brain, right side of the brain kind of thing, and it doesn't something since his return. Coach is just not got like he's
Yeah, and it's the problem because it would be a refreshing way for a color commentator because in pro wrestling, we all expect the color commentator to be a stand up comic first and a top color man second. But when you go into a real sports world, that's why Dennis Miller bombed miserably on Monday Night Football. Because
oh god, why do you have to remind us of that fiasco? That was a nightmare.
Yes.
What the fuck they were thinking, I have no idea. But Dennis Miller should never be commentary on any fucking thing ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Exactly.
sporting event.
And that's really the point because having a comedy guy as your color man just doesn't work in a real sports performance, but it works in pro wrestling. So having someone who brings a more serious viewpoint but still adds color to the mix could be an interesting way to do a color person in pro wrestling.
I think Mauro Ranallo does that quite nicely. He
Mhm.
brings the legitimacy. The fuck it. He's. I'm not. Anyway,
Well, it
but
really
he
goes.
also he does get a little over the top, and yes, he does have some of his
Mhm.
um, words, or
Mhm.
but he. And if you know his background, like he does boxing, he does combat sports, he does, and he brings that feel
Mhm.
to it, but at the same time takes it up just a notch because now we're talking about professional wrestling
Yeah.
and not a 12-round boxing match or a 5-round MMA match.
Mhm. But that's also
He
the problem on it, where a lot of times Morrow is in the same school as Matt Stryker, where 50%
mm,
of the time they're going to be an incredible announcer, and you just gotta hear more of this person. They're awesome. They're one of the best in the business. And the other 50% of the time, they're going to come up with some of the cringiest shit you've ever heard
yeah,
an announcer say in your life. And you're going to ask yourself, why the hell am I listening to this guy?
yeah. In defense, I would say it's kind of more 75-25 Merle side, and you're right, 50-50 on Matt Stryker. Some of the shit Matt Stryker just randomly says is what the fuck.
Mhm.
I mean, he does work well with Vampiro and Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Like they work together as a pair, and he'll go from just like, dude, can he call like every match I ever watched to no, get him out, cut his mic, like shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear him anymore.
Yeah.
Like in a heartbeat, like within 2 sentences.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's really the big problem on a lot of people in that school, where you can be very good, and then you're going to have some cringy nickname, some cringy anecdote, or if you're Mauro Ranallo, you're going to have even the guy who wrote Ready Player One says you are making too many bad references that make no sense in this context.
Yeah, and I have a soft spot in my heart for Miro because of outside of wrestling, like
Yeah.
life issues. But sometimes he takes his his references and stuff. Like, what the does that have to do with jack shit that just happened?
Mm-hmm.
But I still
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah. He's very good on him, but they're mostly the example of they'd be the best announcer in the business if they just had a bit more of a filter.
Yeah, yeah. Like where I was saying about Coach, like
Mhm.
having I don't want to say no filter, but like literally not being able to filter anything. If we could take some of like it's just you know sees and says with Coach, and just a small filter between left and right side
Mhm.
before it comes out of your mouth, and like okay, let me. And it's split second stuff that they have to, and that's a hard job to do a play by play or color commentary.
Yeah,
Like you can't think
especially when
like
you consider that everybody has Vince McMahon right in their earpiece saying, "Say it this way, say it this way, say it
yeah.
this way," and
Like
that's also
I've said before, I couldn't stand. I don't give a damn if it's Vince, if it's you, my wife, anybody. If I'm trying to do a job that involves me talking and somebody in my ear, A, telling me what to do, B, telling me, you know, the next thing to say, commercial break, fuck all of that.
Mhm.
That would drive me batshit crazy.
Yeah. And we've seen that it can make for worse announcers. Like just watching Beast in the East again, you notice how much better Michael Cole came off because
Yeah.
it didn't feel like he had anybody in his earpiece there. So you
And
got to see how good Michael Cole could be if he had the filters taken off.
And I'm going to jump ahead just a bit from our itinerary, but and it's not a spoiler. The announcers for the upcoming Mae Young Classic, Michael Cole, is going to be one of the announcers.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
And I know Michael Cole, like he's been shooting. It's Michael Cole, Beth Phoenix. It's just the two of them, right?
It's Michael Cole, Beth Phoenix, and Renee Young.
Renee Young, sorry. It's Michael Cole, and Michael Cole did an interview where since he became head of the announcers, that he's been pushing for the women.
Yeah.
And I take that at face value because he seemed legitimately happy and at the same time surprised, if you will, that we have women. He was basically, he called, like it's me, but the story here is Beth and Renee.
Yeah, and you could see that if they had a third good woman announcer, that could have been better, but you can't really think of any that would be at that level yet. Like most announcers who are female are just backstage interviewers, and you don't know if they could carry a full hour of TV yet.
Right, and I think Michael Cole's the perfect glue to keep the booth to not overtaking it. Give the Renee and Beth, give women voice light without overshadowing it, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
But like say you if you just for the sake of it wanted to do a 3-woman booth, you're gonna put fucking Lita up there? Like, no, thank you. I will watch Mae Young Classic. It's gonna be on mute.
Yeah.
You put Renee
that's
Young.
The point where Lita's one of the most experienced announcers they have on it, but Lita was terrible on Heat. Her run on Heat was just abysmal. It just showed why Lita shouldn't be let near a live mic at that time.
You gonna put Alexa Bliss up there? Have you not heard her on just commentary? Fuck that. Like, no thanks. Lita on pre-show panel, and I'm raising my hand as I'm saying this. Lita's like, and if Metal Matt listens to this, or Lita's my queen. Like, I love Lita. She does no business being on commentary or pre-show panels unless it's a guest spot. Like, she doesn't. That's not her. That's not what she does well.
Yeah, and that's also the case where you can't really think of anybody who do well in that role who could replace them.
If somebody said, okay, here's the 2 women, we need a third person. Here's Beth Phoenix. Here's Renee Young. Who would you pick to be the third person?
Honestly,
I'd go Michael Cole.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
And
if we had to pick a woman on that one, there's not many good options. I suppose that since Nicole Matthews is in the tournament, maybe you take a flyer and give a test run to Portia Perez, but that's about the only one who would have a good case for it.
But then also there lies in the problem of either one of those is you're getting into an audience of who? And they might like her and pick up on her and like, hey, she's cool.
Yeah.
But which goes all the way back to the coach thing of the quote unquote credibility. Not saying that they're not credible, but how the business side of WWE looks at things of even if it's wrong, like Jonathan Coachman has credibility.
Yeah, and that's
like,
really
you put Michael Cole there. That's a by itself, whether you like Michael Cole or not, that's a credible an announce team. Like,
Yeah.
there's credibility.
Yeah, and that was really the big thing when they got them. Like the last time they went with an indie star who didn't have any WWE experience and went to convert him to an announcer, you had Nigel McGuinness, but he was the announcer for Ring of Honor. He had those ones, and Nigel McGuinness was a very credible performer who every fan would buy as credible, even if he never worked in a WWE ring.
Right.
So,
And just my personal opinion, I cannot stand Nigel on commentary for NXT. That a lot of that, and I've said this, a lot of it has to do with Miss Corey.
Well, the big problem on it is that Nigel's biggest weakness is that his voice is a little too high pitched. And I know it's bad when I'm saying it, but I would say I have a terribly high pitched voice, and I probably shouldn't have those things either. But that's the difference between having a show with about 12 or 13 viewers tops and having a position on a show where 1 million people are watching.
Yeah. And not only is it higher pitched, and I saw the other day you said something about where you re-listen to yourself, like, damn, Mom, I do have an accent. Well, he actually has, like, Americans, you know, like to us, like a strong accent. Not only is it high, but like and nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, to some viewers or listeners, it might be just, I'm sure, like, if we were broadcast around the world, which, you know, we are, just we're not like that popular.
Yeah.
Like, some people might not like I don't want to say the state you're from, your northeastern accent. And some people might not like my Texas accent.
Yeah.
I don't think I have one. I know I talk with I'm kind of slow in how my words, but I'm not like, hey, how's it going, y'all? Like, I'm not that bad about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's also the case where if you have too strong an accent, then it can lead to the question. Like I had said that on Cage Side Seats as the reason why it'd be wary if the most likely person to have some credibility as that third woman, Vita Scott, was in there. And if you know why I picked Vita Scott, do the math for which state I'm from, for why I'd say, okay, that's why.
And that's, and I've never seen, like, and I know I just talked about Nigel McGuinness, but I also said that it's not Nigel himself, it's that he replaced Corey, and like Impractical Jokers, I will never forgive you. Like, that's, but accents or, you know, anything can turn somebody off of, you know, delivery, or like with me, like I just miss Corey so much that, like, shut up, Nigel. But if you get Nigel to shut up, then you have to hear all the cultural references from Mero and get no break from that, or.
Yep, and that's really the big question on them, because it's very rare you have someone who just gets it on this one, and if they do seem to get it, they end up losing it eventually just because of the people in their head. JBL is a great example of that.
Yeah, and you can kind of, if you could plot it out, you could almost see the time of when people in the ear became overbearing.
Well, I think it was always kind of there, but the difference is no one noticed until Mick Foley left over it. So,
yeah, that's. But it's always there, but then there was a time, and I'm not going to go through episode by episode or year by year of, like I say, the overbearing where it's went from like a bullet points kind of thing in your ear. Hey, don't forget this, or make sure to mention that. So you better fucking mention this, goddammit. And then the repetitiveness of what they do mention. The big
Yeah.
dog. It's boss like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's one of the problems of having taglines, and especially having taglines that are pretty much all the character they get for this one. I mean, we know Sasha Banks is the boss. We don't see her or overseeing a bunch of underworkers for it to prove that. We see Roman Reigns as the big dog. We don't see him eating ass like as seen by SmackDown before in the past. And so
Did I lose you?
What?
You just completely went.
Oh, I'm not sure what's going on there, but like I said on it, it's just weird where if this nickname is all the character someone gets, then eventually you're going to have things where they have to explain it a lot. Like, we can hear that Finn Balor is an extraordinary man who does extraordinary things. We don't see why he's an extraordinary man or what extraordinary things he does, but that's his gimmick is.
And that's a big problem. Like, okay, say a new fan is coming along, and they have no idea about Undertaker versus Roman at WrestleMania, and the promo the next night, this is my yard now. Can we explain to anybody that's just finding wrestling what the fuck the big dog means?
Mm-hmm.
Can we explain to, like, it's boss time? Okay, she goes by the boss. Why? And I'm saying, like, seriously, like, just if you want to grow your viewership and stuff, and yes, people can Google, but they shouldn't have to.
Yeah, and if you have to, just make some reasons for it. Like, for instance, Sasha Banks is the boss. Okay, have her hired by Titus World Slide in order to get some things where she's actually overseeing Dana Brooke and Apollo Crews for Titus O'Neil. And she's actually a boss of some people.
Right.
Or...
but then once you do that, like, don't do it every week, like repetitiveness.
You have Roman Reigns hump people's legs in the back. Show that he is a large canine. Which brings more reason to all the Stephanie McMahon pics of her hugging her dog recently.
Now, you want to talk about a big dog. That fucking dog is huge.
Yep.
Good God. And I saved that picture just because I want to start making memes out of it.
Yes.
that fucking, because it actually looks like he's looking at a computer screen or a TV. And there's so much shit you can do with that. Like, so many captions you can make with that about wrestling. The dog, so it's a picture of Stephanie. They're sitting at a table, and it's Stephanie giving kissy faces to this huge, that dude has to be like almost 200 pounds. Biggest fucking face I've ever seen on a dog. And the dog mouth wide open, like jaw dropped. There's so many memes you can make out of, what do you mean my dad booked this shit? Or, what do you mean Stephanie had Brock go over at SummerSlam? That dog is, and to the point where people didn't even realize, my point being that people didn't even realize it was Stephanie. Everybody was like focused on how big the fucking dog was. That dog is huge.
Yes.
I could not imagine. And I've got one of my dogs is a big dog. Damn it, Michael. He's still a puppy, but he's like 80 something pounds. He ain't that damn big. That's damn thing eat you out of house and home.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh,
no,
but that
go ahead.
into the actual stuff that happened this week.
Yeah.
And,
So,
the saddest thing that happened this week, of course, would be we almost had a triple threat match in the NXT title reign, but unfortunately, there was one of the many different ninja attacks that have been overgoing the Orlando region occurred as Aleister Black was attacked outside of the NXT building.
I'm still going. It's the same people that didn't have.
Yeah. Let us all go with the tribute single for him.
What the hell is that? Are you doing this?
Yes.
Why are you doing this?
Well, we have to show some support to Aleister Black in his injury for it. Luckily, the traditional Orlando band Dragon Sound had managed to make this song against the ninjas that have attacked him and Hideo Itami and Samoa Joe before they even knew that ninjas were a thing.
Did you have to blow my eardrums out doing it?
That's one of the weaknesses of having these ones. So,
You MFer.
yeah.
Like, did somebody like hack the stream and like just show up, or I didn't see anybody like, oh, Greeny's doing Greeny shit.
Yes. But even then, it's probably for the best because inadvertently we get what should have happened anyway. Gargano versus Ciampa one-on-one for the title.
Last man standing match.
Yeah.
And these aren't spoilers. WWE's already put it out there. They've already announced it. So email them or write your complaints to them.
Yeah. And it's probably for the best on it because really with all the twists and turns that have gone from that angle, it's really gone to it where Tommaso Ciampa has gotten so big and so hated as a heel, he's overtaken the reason that people hate him in the first place. And that's just talent.
Question. Say Aleister Black didn't get injured. What do you think would have happened at TakeOver in a triple threat?
Honestly,
where are they going?
I think the end game of that one would have been Gargano beats Black on it, and suddenly Black has a reason to say Gargano's the bad guy, but Ciampa has a reason to say that he's the bad guy for it. And that's really one of the weirdest things that went in that angle because you'd think that Gargano was such a pure baby face that he would be the pure face. And Aleister Black's whole gimmick is no one's truly good, no one's truly evil. So he would be the perfect tweener in that instance. And then Ciampa is history's greatest monster, so he'd of course be the heel. But somehow they managed to make it where Black is the good guy, Gargano's the tweener, and Ciampa's the heel.
I think this is where they were headed with this whole Gargano. I think that's where they. And next Thursday we'll do our predictions and stuff.
Yeah.
What's actually happening? Since it's not going to happen, the triple threat anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you have like your three very over guys, and the story was evolving I just wanted your take on if it was going to happen. And what would you think?
Well, honestly, it's one of the things where I'm just happy it's a one-on-one match, because a lot of the people's claims, oh, put Keith Lee in it, put Matt Riddle in it, would be,
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
no. If they put someone like Keith Lee in after one match, that would be like saying officially it's an indie darling thing. It's not a development anymore. And if
Matt Riddle hasn't even
debut, then it's dead. Just sign whoever's shiny from the indie scene, close the performance center down, and just have it be a super indie.
And Matt Riddle, love him, bro. It shouldn't be on the card. This is one of those, like, be in the crowd. Show him in the crowd. Like, he's for sure signed, guys. He's here. But he shouldn't even have a match at TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Like, shouldn't even.
Yeah, and that's really the big thing on it, because it should take a few months for a big debut, and it shouldn't be that night you debut. There's the look who we signed moment, and then you show their official signing, and then you start build up to TakeOver for their first match.
Yeah. Even if they started with the announcement of Alistair's out, and we're going to do now it's one-on-one last man standing match. I wouldn't even be happy if they would have done it. We're still doing a triple threat but we don't know who the third competitor is going to be.
Yeah.
And if it's not somebody already in somewhat of the storyline, and like Keith Lee just had his first match last night in NXT. Matt Riddle hasn't even been on NXT. Anything outside of that, like, what the fuck? Like, you just...
Yeah.
You're going to get a pop. You're going to get talked about. But in story-wise, like, oh, we just signed this guy, and this is his debut match? You know?
Yeah. And honestly,
I think they're doing right by just keep, like, okay, Alistair's out, so we'll just do one-on-one, but we'll make it last man thing, with some stipulation. Like that's the best they could do right now.
Yeah. Yeah, if you had to make it a triple threat, what I would have done is the most obvious thing. You either make Cole versus Ricochet, or you make Dream versus EC3 a match. Winner gets into the world title match. That would have been perfectly reasonable.
Right.
Either way, you make it so that North American champion is #1 contender and they can get a title shot, or you make the best singles match on it and say winner gets in.
Right. Something with some basis to it, not just a random. And I'm not calling Matt Riddle or Keith Lee or any new signings random, but to insert them in a match like this is completely random.
Yeah.
Like have some substance, but behind who actually goes into it.
But
so Raw, go ahead. Sorry.
Was basically, well, there was just nothing much there, because you have
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. And she was facing Alicia Fox. And the problem with that match is that Rousey may have not done it too much there, because Rousey should destroy Alicia. She should wipe the floor with her. Shouldn't even be a minute in that match, because Ronda Rousey was built in MMA as this unstoppable force who could not be beaten. She'll beat you in 30 seconds or less with her armbar on it. And Alicia is one of the low women on the totem pole. If she if that match was even just a 3-minute match, just toying with her beforehand, that goes.
Didn't you hear? Alicia Fox is bona fide. She was the captain of the Survivor Series team. Bullshit. No. Alicia Fox is credible. She would, and in fact, they didn't mention it, but she was 2 times in a row captain of the women's Survivors team. That should have been a 20-minute. If my sarcasm doesn't come through,
Yes.
Then.
Yes, but that's one of those cases where that one doesn't just bypass, you kill the aura and bypass, you put Ronda Rousey just like everybody else. That goes straight to the Tony Atlas story in 1980, where he was debuting in Georgia Championship Wrestling, said he was going to break a weightlifting
and got fired the same night he debuted. Are we talking about the same thing?
Yeah.
Where he I'll let you tell the story. Go ahead.
Week 1, he shows up. He says he's going to break a weightlifting record at the arena next week, and he wanted everyone to come and cheer him on. Week 2, he does the weightlifting. He breaks the record. Everybody cheers him on. Week 3, he has his first match. It's a 50-50 match where he does well against the performer, and he's fired the second he gets back through the door because you didn't squash that guy. You should have destroyed that person. Now you have no heat left. Your credibility's completely shot. I can't even use you anymore. You're done. That is Ronda Rousey against Alicia Fox if it's a competitive match.
And it started the previous week with Alicia throwing Ronda up against the barricade. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, how? Excuse me. What the? Because I said it out loud. Like, because she did, I think, twice.
Mm-hmm.
And just visually knowing Ronda Rousey, knowing the spot Alicia Fox is in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing this, huh?
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey is going to be brutalized, victimized, traumatized by Alicia Fox? Like, this is happening. Okay.
Yeah. And I could buy at least give a little bit of heat to Alicia so that people think it's not a foregone conclusion, but it's a foregone conclusion. Everybody knows Ronda is better than Alicia. She should be better than Alicia. Ronda is the biggest crossover star they have in the hot hand who's on the verge of stardom, and Alicia is the low woman on the totem pole. If you say that Alicia's even in playing Ronda's sport, much less in her league right now, you're killing Ronda Rousey's aura.
I will say this much, because I kind of like Alicia Fox.
Yeah, she's not bad, but at the same time,
I'm not in ring stuff. She plays the crazy character. Like I like her character.
Yeah.
Hey, she main evented a Raw.
Yeah, and that's
like no matter how you wash it, you know she main evented a Raw. So
yeah,
and the person behind the character has to, like, no matter what we say, the person that, like, holy shit, I closed that Raw.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that as a feather in Victoria Crawford's cap, but
yeah,
the Alicia Fox character is kind of, she's the platonic ideal of what a carpenter should be. She's good, she's solid, but she's not someone you'd ever expect is ever going to be better than what she is.
I mean, her Northern Lights, though, like, dude, it's great. Like,
yeah. And that's really the point on this one, because there's some solid things that would work well on it. Heck, Northern Lights into an armbar could have been a very interesting, possibly conceivable spot.
Yeah.
But
I think, go ahead.
But other than that, really nothing much happened this week. I mean, Roman Reigns still gets cheered, which is a good plus. So
Yeah, you can't discount the fact that Roman's getting cheered.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah, the fans are
good.
playing ball with him. So something's happening here. And then they have a 20-minute match against Constable Corbin.
I like the match. For one, I like Roman and Baron Corbin.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's still just weird of like Corbin's the type of guy that you should be using as his dwarf for. Have Roman just throw Corbin around and show, yeah, he's in Lesnar's league.
See, that's what one thing that took me out excuse me, of the match was and this it might not have been, but it was either scripted or somebody put it in his ear and he repeated it. You know, Corbin's size and Corbin's like Lesnar, like they're both big men, and let's see, like the fuck you say, like you're comparing Brock Lesnar's size to Baron Corbin's.
Yeah, and that's really the difference because Lesnar is just huge in every way. He's tall, he's big, he's jacked. Corbin's tall, but he's not in the same size as Lesnar. So.
Yeah, but they said it on commentary of they literally compared, this is Roman. This is a test for Roman because he's got the SummerSlam match with Reigns, and here's big old bad Corbin, and Corbin's a big guy. Don't get me wrong, height wise, and he's got some mass on him. But when you there's a huge difference between Corbin and Brock when you're comparing overall size, strength, of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And that's really the problem on this one with a lot of the NXT big men for it, where the fact that they're going away from the normal Haas on it is a plus on them, but between Corbin and Big Cass, most of their bigs on it were just, they're pretty tall guys, but can't really say they're huge either, so.
Well, you have Lars, but.
Yeah. Yeah, Lars looks like a big guy, so he would work better there.
No, and like for instance, if he would have been facing Lars, they would have said, this is like and I want to say they used the term warm up because I think it was even one of the other announcers said, Corbin's not a warm up. Don't discount Corbin. He's not a warm up. Now, if that would have been Lars, okay, that's a good comparison. They're both big, meaty motherfuckers.
Yeah. Yeah, but even then, and it's just a case where Corbin was just good enough, so he should have been a warm-up, but not good enough, so he should have been a warm-up. And tied to that, for another person who could have possibly been a warm-up, Bobby Roode faces Mojo Rawley.
Oh, God.
This match, is there an opposite of the term glorious?
Is there, how do you actually enunciate like 100 Z's in a row?
Yawn. And that was just really the example of the whole show on this one, where at least with No Way Jose, he had just enough charisma you could be excited when Mojo destroyed him. Bobby Roode we've seen Bobby Roode for so long that he's just not a baby face. He's just not.
He never was. Like, he just seeing him, like, you don't even have to know wrestling. Seeing him and the robe and his look, like, you just want to punch him in the face. He's not a face.
Yeah, and the reason why he's such a good guy makes it worse too. He's a good guy
fucking song.
Has a theme song. Everybody has a theme song in WWE. What makes Bobby Roode so damn special about it?
And how they haven't realized, because we all knew when he got called up, like, okay, he's going to get a pop. Let him play this week as a face and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fuck, how long is this experiment of Bobby Roode as a face going to last? Yeah. Like, okay, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
He got his pop. Like, let's go to, and even to me anymore, hell, Bobby Roode is still boring as shit. But
yeah,
it's a lot better than face Bobby Roode.
But it's really like Randy Orton, where as a face they're boring as shit, as a heel they're boring as shit, but it's a feature, not a bug, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you want a heel who's boring as shit, because they're not here to entertain you; they're here to win. And ideally, that's what everybody in wrestling was about if Vince McMahon was still alive.
Yeah. I still find I've never been a fan of. I like Beer Money Inc.
Yeah.
TNA.
Yeah, but that's also the same thing on it. Bobby Roode is best as a straight man. He was great as James Storm's straight man. He was great as Eric Young's straight man. He was good as the straight man that's bad influence at Austin Aries. As himself, he's kinda meh.
Yeah, he has to play off of somebody. He's and they're he can decently do solo smog FU Hill to some degree. Yeah. He works so much better when there's somebody to play off of, and why that hasn't happened in the year since his call up, I don't know.
Yeah, and honestly, it's perfect on it because it's Raw, so they always have the break glass of gold dust in case you have someone who needs to play off somebody. And even if it was, Roode and Goldust is actually an interesting idea for it. You'd have someone who's the perfect, you just react to this guy and let him do his thing for it, and that's where Roode's best at.
Or you say Goldust, and because it was spectacular. Some like Bobby Roode and R-Truth.
Well, R-Truth's on SmackDown, so
I know. I was just like, give them something to bounce off of.
Yeah, heck, they had the concept today where they basically napalmed Tyler Breeze for it. Have him play off Tyler Breeze. Have him play off Zack Ryder. Have him play off No Way Jose. Have him play off somebody.
Anybody, for fuck's sake, anybody. Like, because everybody's treading, not everybody, but these people that are treading water, put them together, and then you have a person that's not, mute the TV or turn the channel, Bobby Roode, and you have somebody that's not in catering or, no direction. Put them together.
Yeah. Heck, with the news that Jason Jordan's neck injury was worse than he thought, and it went from he's back imminently to he's back under the knife. Just use Chad Gable in the role. He's pretty good at play off this guy and with a straight man, so let him run.
And to me, Chad Gable was, I know Jordan was supposed to be the funny man, but to me, Gable was more, because he was like that, like a little, like what I've, speaking of dogs, I've also have 2 little dogs, like I'm sure you guys all know. Like he's that jumping chihuahua kind of, like, play that. And Bobby Roode is so much taller than, or about the same height, size, whatever, as Bobby Roode or Jason Jordan. Like, play that. Like, hey, coach, put me in. Put me in, coach.
Yeah, and that
You know,
was
that,
really how Chad Gable became so good with American Alpha, because
yeah.
it was basically put me in, coach, put me in, coach, put me in, coach. Then they finally team up and say like, "Holy shit, you're a prodigy. We should be a
Yeah.
team."
Just anything.
Mhm.
But before we, Mojo Rawley is a hill. I like it.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
wish
yeah,
he would move on from this shit.
yeah. But that's really the big problem on it, because Mojo is good enough to be a heel and deserves more space on it, but the face side is just weak enough that you're either having him destroy all the mid carders, or you have to put him against the guys like Strowman, like Rollins, like those.
Yeah,
And they need to be
they're
more mid card faces. And because of that, you end up with Bobby Roode and Mojo Rawley as a feud.
right. I get the logistics of it. Just
Mm-hmm. But speaking of random people in the mid card getting matches for no reason, you have the continued Authors of Pain get destroyed at the hands of Titus World Slide,
World Speed.
as Titus O'Neil takes on Rezar. And this is just sad now. I mean, I
Yeah.
love Titus Worldwide. I think they're perfect. Everybody has a strength that hides the other's weaknesses in that group.
Yes.
That's the
And
perfect.
they brought all three of them up.
Yeah, that's what
Titus
you want.
Worldwide, Apollo Crews, Danny Brooke.
Yeah,
And it might not be far up, but it's fucking up.
yeah,
Like it's up to some whatever degree you want to call it.
yeah. You don't need everybody to be a great tag team. All you need is Titus O'Neil is an incredibly charismatic man who is amazing at that, but he can't really wrestle. Apollo Crews is an incredible wrestler, but the man has absolutely no charisma at all. Dana
None.
Brooke is kind of weak in the ring, but she's very pretty and she makes these guys look cool, so it works there. Put them together, the whole is better than the sum of its parts.
Right.
But
Exactly.
still, this is the Authors of Pain. They were one of
And
the hottest prospects you have as a tag team.
I
These
was
guys
gonna say,
are very good and super young to boot, so you could buy them being at the top for the next 15 years if you did them right. And
yeah,
you're doing this with them.
that's my sad trombone thing is what the fuck are you doing with the Authors of Pain?
Yeah.
What in the living hell
Mm-hmm.
is up with this bullshit? Like, and that's what it is. It's just complete utter bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's, and I refuted this at the beginning because I thought maybe that are we at ascension level yet?
Honestly, I don't think we're at Ascension level, because remember, a month after the Ascension were called up, they were in the they job to Legends angle. And once you're in
Oh
the
yeah,
they
yeah.
lose to Legends, you're dead. You're just dead. It's not going to happen.
But are we close? Well, the revival did that
Yeah, but
anyway.
when did the Revival exactly lose to Legends?
They didn't lose; they just got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
Um, but are we like reaching that territory of with the AOP of what the you went from like a team debuting and I get the Ellering thing like let let's take Ellering out of the picture. These two dudes are and they put them over to some degree on commentary of how big they are and how badass they are. Um, they're so big and badass. Why why is this being booked like that? A, why are they in singles competition instead of just running over? people.
Well, that really ties into the big problem that it's been enough time that we can say for the class of 2018, this was the failing with everybody in the class of 2018. It was the failing with No Way Jose, the authors of Pain, the iconic duo, and Andrade Cien Almas, Drew McIntyre, the Sanity. All of them have the same thing in common by now for why they're flailing. They did everything they needed to do, and they needed to be promoted from NXT, but they weren't ready, truly ready for the promotion. Even the biggest prospect, Ember Moon, I forgot her name on this one, which says how big Ember Moon was been on the main roster.
This reminds me of old school SNL, Saturday Night Live. Not yet ready for primetime players. Mm-hmm. They are. It's not them that's the problem. It's the bloatedness of the people on the main roster. Mm-hmm. Like what the?
Well, it's not even so much the bloatedness of the people on the main roster. It's just the fact that all of those people, you could pretty much argue, their story was over on NXT. They did all they could do on NXT, and they just couldn't do any more. And they're all very good wrestlers, and you can't really say they need to be set free. But there's just nothing. They need to be doing something more than they are.
Yeah. And that's I was saying that in a roundabout way, like they, but it's so mind-boggling to me. And I get they reached this point where they can't go any further here, even though we've seen that they can still stay down there and do things. And it's just over and over of the let's call them up for the sake of calling them up, kind of thing. No fucking clue what we're gonna do with them, but
yeah, and honestly, it's even worse because even when they called them up for good reasons, they didn't. They just called them up and they didn't have anything more for them. Like they had good reasons to call up Ember Moon and the Iconics, but since then,
right?
What else is?
Since Iconics beat down Charlotte and Carmella cashed in, what the fuck has the Iconics done? Like literally, there's no. Like you would think there'd be like this small window of transition of, okay, they've done this in NXT. Here's a small window, and then here's what we're gonna do with you on the main roster, what we're planning on doing. That small window of, okay, let's now just hey, and you get a lot of sink or swim.
Yeah,
that's not. If you put weights on somebody's ankles and wrist and around their chest, and you throw them in a pool, how the fuck are they supposed to swim?
Yeah, and that's really the big problem on most of them, because at least if that's why you end up with things like they need a women's tag team division just to save things like the Iconics from just show up, cut a promo to keep their heat, lose.
It just and this year and last year, the call-ups have just been. And there comes a time when you have to. Oh, they got called up too soon. They weren't ready. They between that stance and yeah, how do you know they weren't ready if they weren't given a fucking chance?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really the problem because all of them were in that situation where they're ready, they're clearly ready, but they just don't have anything to do to show that they're ready. And really, it goes to the same case where it's just more notable on the author's opinion, where the author's opinion are flailing like this, and the tag team champions, B team, go, go, go.
Oh God, the new theme. Oh God.
Honestly, I think it works more because it's
Yeah,
so corny.
it worked more for them. It
Yeah.
works a lot more.
It works more than generic new metal for a team that corny. A team like that shouldn't be coming into these battle stars. No, they're the B team. They're corny bastards. They're losers. They need something that sounds like they're losers.
And it's more fitting. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like damn that song. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
like excessively like bad. It fits them because they're excessively bad.
Yeah.
And I love Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. That's not what I'm trying to say, but like it's a fitting. It fits them better than Battle Scars
Yeah.
for what they. I don't. And somebody somewhere in the thread said something. A comedy job or act would be tag team, and I agree. I'd rather it would have been the Fashion Police first.
Yeah. But at least Fandango's injured, so that makes sense there. So
Yeah, well now, but like back, when they started, and everybody was clamoring over the Fashion Police.
mm-hmm.
What else happened around?
Well, it basically wasn't that much. Braun Strowman tips something over. Seth Rollins has to fight a handicap match, and in the process, they make it clear that Tyler Breeze is less valuable than nothing. And
that was funny as shit, though. That backstage segment where he wanted to be a part of the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
And that again, I love Tyler Breeze. And I love Fandango. Like they have the committed chops. So
mm-hmm.
I don't want to sound like The Rock, but they know their role. Like they.
Yeah, and that's one of the pluses where a lot of these people know their role, but there's also that little twinge of they could be doing so much more.
Yeah.
And it's really a plus that the B team have that they know their role and they got their chance and they're doing really well with it.
Right. And isn't this where we have to I'm going to try to articulate something. Where we have to remove ourselves from the actual actor's point of view.
Yeah.
If they're happy, shouldn't we be happy for them?
Yeah.
Like that's how if going back to just a previous conversation, there's a thing. If they're happy, I'm fucking happy.
Yeah.
But let's go to Cody Rhodes. He wasn't happy.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't happy with not being able to come out of Stardust and become. He wasn't happy, so he asked for his release and ventured off.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's happy in their job and they like showing up every day, they're getting paid for it. And in this case, wrestling, they're getting paid.
Yeah.
A lot more than I've been paid salary wise. Like, I'm happy for you if you're happy. If you're miserable in it, like do something else.
Yeah. And it's also this case on those ones where sometimes it feels like if they're one of my favorites on these ones, I think part of me says, I want to see him do so much better than this. But then the part of me says that if I'm I'm a big Iconics fan, and I thought I just wanted him to be promoted 6 months ago. I just wanted to see him make the main roster, and now I'm mad that they're jobbing on the main roster, and I feel there's a problem there as well. So,
Not to go all
mhm,
Peyton Royce fan or anything,
mhm,
because I haven't watched that match from SmackDown.
mhm,
But somebody made a comment about in the live thread for SmackDown of when Peyton got the hot tag and where the camera angle was and what she was doing.
mhm.
So I need to watch that match. Nothing else for that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that ties into the claim that Dave Meltzer, the world's foremost MRA, who's also a pro wrestling viewer, said today, where the deal with women's wrestling in the U.S. is that you're supposed to say it's good even when it's not. Now, ignoring the fact that Dave Meltzer clearly has important views on ethics in video game journalism, that doesn't really make sense on it. Like, you can say
yeah,
that someone is terrible and not say that all women's wrestling is terrible.
yeah. And I'm on record and I think even on Black and Wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a fuck what Meltzer says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe he gave Ishii and Omega 5.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good match. 5.5?
Mm-hmm.
Come the fuck on. Like, how do you even get to 5.5 stars?
Yeah. Well, clearly, if it was a 6-star match, you know it's a 6-star match.
That's kind of my point. Like, it's Meltzer, so we're doing 6 and 6. And he gave the Bar versus. Oh, a deer just ran in my front yard. Nice. Anyway, he gave the Bar versus the New Day 4 stars. Are you kidding? Like, is there not like some obvious bias there?
Well,
Ishii Omega, Night 14 of New Japan.
Mhm.
Great match. Fantastic match. 5.5, breaking your quote unquote star system of your 5-star bullshit, and then rating New Day and the
well,
Bar.
being fair, Champa versus Black did get 8 stars, so there is that.
He didn't give him 8, did he?
Champa gave the match 8, so
Well, the Black Heart does whatever the
yeah.
Black Heart wants to do.
But yeah, it's just a case where from something like that, no, you can say, for example, Tamina has no value to a promotion at this point in time, while also saying, yes, women's wrestling is very good. You can say that a woman is bad and not say all women are bad.
Yes, and that. Thank you for saying that.
But even with that, you also have to realize that, for examples like seeing the match for those points on it, there is still the BD3 scale to judge women's wrestling. And the BD3 scale is simple. If when you see them in the match, do they make your pee-pee go, ba-doing, doing, doing?
Wow.
But speaking of that, when you have the only other thing with any value of this night on it, where the Boston Hug Connection fought the Riot Squad, and the Riot Squad are a family again.
Ruby's back. Ruby's back.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's for the best on this one because, at the very least, you have some more ways on it. You have the best worker of the 3 back, but even then, you can't really say anything because if it was sink or swim mentality, when Ruby got injured, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan actually started to swim, so you can't really say they
Yeah.
did wrong. Now they're actually at least a solid enough tag team. Not great,
Right.
but they're okay, and that's
They're
expected for them.
like not comparing the wrestling ability, but like in early stages of New Day.
Yeah.
Like a 3-person trio that will do a tag team if rumors are to be true and we're going to tag team women's championship.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, it's something. There's something on the bone there of okay, now we're up against. If you're looking at it from the Bailey Sasha thing, like okay, now not only do we have Sasha or Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan. Oh, Ruby's back. Okay, now who are we going to face this week?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be on the just the subtleties of it.
Yeah. And then you have the question: do the Boston Hug connection add someone else to their team to try and make sure this one works? Like, do they try to make it the Boss, Hug, and Wolf connection, or something like that?
I wouldn't. Like I'd keep them as a tag team and
Yeah.
face the Riot Squad, as a tag team, or so be it, like a 3-on-2 tag team match. I wouldn't add any. It's convoluted enough with the whole Bailey Sasha thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just don't add any more pieces to it.
Yeah.
Just keep them as them, and even if it's a 3-on-2 and they get their ass beat or they beat ass, whichever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't dilute it more than what we've already seen for the past year.
Mm-hmm. But really, that's how meh Raw was. And going back to meh SmackDown for it. And you start with Randy Orton's saying that he's going to erase everyone the fans choose to believe in because they didn't believe in him. And honestly, the problem is it works against Jeff Hardy, but this just leads to more of a question where if you're doing this as his concept as a heel now, and you want to do this as a style, wouldn't it be time to ask yourself the really tough question and really go with the move that would sell that gimmick more and be the ballsiest thing WWE could do? Namely, move Orton to NXT.
Can I preface, and I don't mean to do this, I'm not trying to be a bad co-host.
Mm-hmm.
Can I preface this by saying, why the fuck would you announce Miz accepts the Daniel Bryan match at SummerSlam on Twitter an hour before the fucking show goes on?
Yeah, especially because
what the fuck was announce it on the show? That was the story. Miz, no, he's not going to do it. Nope. He has his demands. Put that in the fucking show.
Yeah, because that just doesn't make sense on it. Because not only do you have those, but it's the Miz's character. His entire character is he wants all the lights on him. He wants to be the center of attention. He would not do that on Twitter. He would wait until it was on live TV to announce he's going for this.
That grates me sometimes, not all the time, but like in this instance. Do it on the effing show.
Yeah.
Like, do it for the audience, not. And it was literally like an hour before the show went live.
Yeah. And it's also those where at least the Miz's promo made sense with Miz talking up the success of Miz and Missers, talking up how it's going to be better than Total Divas and Total Bellas. and
It
how
already is.
no
It already is.
and how it has no negative reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. It also has no reviews, period, on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. But I just that, like, the whole storyline leading up to this is Miz getting out of it or saying no.
Yeah.
Like, and I just hate that kind of shit of, I get it, like, after the show and Kurt Angle will send out a tweet or WWE saying, you know, so-and-so made this match official and it's going to happen. But to do it before the show.
Yeah. And that's really the difference, where not all things for Twitter are equal. Like, it makes sense if Zelina Vega and Lana have some Twitter beef and they're put into some matches for it. That makes sense with their characters. It makes sense if the Iconics and Becky and Charlotte have some Twitter beef and they go to a match, because it makes sense with their characters. But The Miz would never announce something like that on Twitter when you could have all the lights on him and all eyes on him when he announces it.
Do that scene just like they did, and you know, I love the, you know, Miz and Mrs. quote unquote set. Like, there is no set. You know, you guys follow us wherever we go. Have him, like, okay, you know, do the exact same promo and then do the Daniel Bryan run and attack stuff. Like, do it on TV.
Yeah.
Don't do it on how they did it. Like, that is so, I guess, for lack of a better word, dumb.
Yeah.
Like, it was so, and then they still did we're on the set of Miz and Mrs. and Daniel. What the hell are we even doing?
Yeah.
Like,
especially because it's hard, because you have Byron Saxton calling for most of the match. And suddenly he walks off and he's on the set of Miz and Missers. What the hell? It didn't work in Survivor when they tried to sell that the host of the show was cutting his way through the jungle, trying to get through, and walks onto the set and in the same dress with everybody there. That kills the whole aura of it.
That's like in any movie, and I'm saying this like specifically because you said something, like somebody's going through the water, and then they get out of the water, and the thing cuts or whatever, and the person's out of the water, they're standing on the beach or something, and they're completely fucking dry.
Yeah.
Like, didn't you swim through an ocean? Didn't you just, like, hello, like, continuity would be nice here.
Yeah. Or you even, with those ones, the same case where Indiana Jones apparently was able to hold his breath on a road from South America to Africa.
Oh, I really wish you wouldn't have done that. Good.
But that's really the problem on it, where...
So, are we confirming that Indiana Jones and Aquaman are the same person? Like,
I think so.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
And if you consider those ones for us making fun of nerd ones, we remind you, no one was there to hear Citizen Kane say Rosebud.
Rosebud? But, sorry to interrupt, though, and that irks me so bad about the...
Yeah, and it's worse because pro wrestling is one of the sports where it's so important to the show that it's a stage show. It's so important that you're seeing it live. And when you try to do something cute with camera angles or camera tricks for it, it takes the whole aura out of the show outright. It's the same thing with why Halftime Heat failed. It was a good empty arena brawl, worked so well. Then they had the last shot being the camera angle right from The Rock's point of view as the forklift went down, and instantly it was all spoiled. It became just a movie.
Right. Like how. And I know to some degree this is a kind of a. It's still real to me, damn it. But and that's a small degree. The big degree is okay. Miz is like accepting the match. Do it on freaking TV.
Yeah. Yeah, or at least have some reasons for this one to change his mind. Like,
Yeah,
Miz wants to be on SummerSlam and get eyes on it. Or
that's even
Daniel
better.
Bryan puts
That's
his career up on the line to get a chance at Miz, which everybody thought they were going to do anyway. Heck, even go down to Daniel Bryan pins Carmella, and that gives him a shot at the Miz.
okay, R-Truth.
Well, it was just necessary because that was one of the good things that R-Truth finally took the chance to let everybody remind him that, yes, R-Truth is fucking awesome.
Yes, he is.
And that line just worked on it. Between a line like that and the New Day line of, we were the 16-time tag team champions, and that'll be Charlotte in a month. I'm not sure, but between those things and the claims that Sasha and Charlotte had problems in NXT, you don't suppose that the blonde Aryan woman who bills herself as genetically engineered perfection and whose father is a notorious racist may be kind of unpopular with the black people.
Thankfully, they finally dropped the genetically superior stuff like that.
Yeah.
That like whoever came up with that line and they used it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you not see what you're fucking saying here?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But that still led to Nakamura squashing R-Truth like a bug. But in the process, it did what it had to do. It showed people, yes, R-Truth was very good, and gave Nakamura his chance to counter. Omega getting his one match against Toru Yano a year for the great Japanese performer and with New Japan credibility takes on the goofy comedy guy.
But R-Truth is back. I love R-Truth.
Yeah.
Ron Killer is a. Not only is he's 46 and still dude can go.
Yeah.
But
he's
Ron Killings, the person
Ron
is
Killings is a fucking treasure mode. Yes. So
even outside of wrestling, like he's a good person.
Yeah.
Like I really like R-Truth, Ron Killings. Like he always brings the smiles, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whether it's little Jimmy or, hey, I'm in this match. This isn't a ladder match. Oops. You sure?
Yep.
Oh, my bad. Like he's so good at what he does.
Yeah, he's the proof that you just need some really good comedy wrestlers on the roster, and R-Truth is one of the best at them.
Yes, but that, not to steal your phrase, but that's one of the problems is not everybody can do that, and they they put people in those positions that they can't do that. They can't do it.
Yeah, but there's also the case that they're at least trying to build up some comedy wrestlers from this one. Like you can see, they tried to build these Tyler Breeze and the Iconics as, okay, there are comedy specialists. That's what they do. And that's fair enough. And then they found out finally with why Rusev Day exploded. It's not that Rusev Day was such a dang theme. We knew from the moment that Rusev killed himself to get over that god-awful Rusev and Summer Rae versus Lana and Dolph Ziggler feud that, holy shit, Rusev has incredible comic timing. One day they're going to give him a dancing bear gimmick and make him a comedy guy, and he's going to nail it. And now he has nailed it.
He's so great. I mean, once he threw the dead fish, like you could already like see little, oh shit. You guys are like, we went from this angry Russian hill to hey guys, you got something here.
Mm-hmm.
And once he threw the damn fish, like, guys, if you don't pick up on this now, you're missing out. And sadly, they didn't pick up on it soon enough. But
well, it was really the problem because they couldn't pick up on it too soon, because when they turn the monster heel into the dancing bear, it becomes the end of their lifespan. So they couldn't
to
pick
some
up
degree,
on how good he is until it was the end of it seemed like the end of it, and now he's revitalized himself.
yeah. And they surely, don't call me Shirley, they have to, like, he's also just like the R-Truth thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's a treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, utilize him.
Yeah.
Not make a joke out of him, not turn him back to, the Bulgarian brood, or, well,
Mm-hmm.
before it was the Russian,
Mm-hmm.
Ruset. You have, you're blind if you don't see the talent in front of you.
Yeah. And it
Like,
was even better when they had Aiden English in the mix, where he was always just good enough that you knew he was in that back that backup level where they were good, but you just knew you give this guy some time and he's going to be great. And
yeah,
it's similar to
and
the
it's so. I've got a lot of words. I just have so many words I don't know.
mm-hmm.
Like, and you can kind of see some mind frames of, well, we're looking for the next guy, or we're looking. Some of them are right fucking there.
Yeah, and that's really the problem right now, because the big issue that NXT is a roster of 12 role players and no one star. And they've got a lot of players who can play their role perfectly. And now WWE has a lot of players who can play their role perfectly, but they don't have that superstar yet. And until they have that superstar, things aren't going to change.
Yeah, which is sad.
Mm-hmm. And going into the superstar one, we have Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles in the world title feud, where the feud is basically, I'm doing this for my family. No, you aren't. You don't really love your family. Didn't we see this with Lashley and Sami Zayn very recently?
Yeah, and predecessed by isn't that kind of the same promo with Kevin Owens?
Yeah.
I guess the prize fighter promo. I'm doing it for my family.
Yeah. But that's also this big problem, because honestly, if it's this, you're going back to that well, you don't really need. It's Joe versus Styles. We want to like this match. Don't give us something that was an angle that we hated just a couple months ago.
Yeah, this is, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Isn't this the first AJ versus Joe match in WWE?
Yes,
Wow.
yes, it is.
Okay. Like that, should that sell enough?
Yeah.
What, um, and it's hard to word things without making it sound like a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've seen Joe and AJ in Ring of Honor, or
Yeah.
some people have. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen Joe and AJ in TNA.
Yeah.
Some people have. Never in WWE. have we seen Joe and AJ.
Yeah. And it's
It is
main eventing
literally
SummerSlam for the WWE title. So that's a
right.
big deal. And it works for Joe versus AJ is a big deal on it. And if
It's
you
not.
look, just run it on that match, run it from the shift at Walmart that Christopher Daniels is working, and so that you can see his responses to it, and it's perfect.
It's not main eventing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Yeah,
You know,
but that's
Brock is
really the problem
Roman.
because we thought that Nakamura versus AJ would be a main event. Look how that turned out.
Roman versus Brock is main eventing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll the last pay per view, and I'll podcast. Like I wanted the Iron Man match to main event, and then
Mm-hmm.
they shit it all over it.
Yeah.
But SummerSlam, yeah, they're. I don't see Joe and AJ
Mm-hmm.
main eventing.
Yeah, and it's worse because we saw from WrestleMania the Nakamura AJ match being meh and then not being good afterwards to the point where it just seems like Joe AJ is just this is the match we're giving you smart so that you won't whine about some Lesnar's Roman again.
But I think well, I said thing. I'm hoping like more is brought to the table this time. God bless you. But I just see again see / hope.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's gimmick isn't like just punch in the dick. Like oh, uh, Roman and Lesnar has to close the show,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't really like Lesnar, and I am a fan of Roman.
Yeah.
It has to main event.
Yeah.
And please, for the love of God, do not have Roman win and get cast in on, and we do another. Historically speaking, Roman win the championship. It lasted another 5 minutes, 15 seconds. Please, for the love of God, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, that's the big problem because before it would have been the way to try and succeed on this one, but Roman just has to win the big one once in a while. If you don't, you basically just you're serving no masters at her point on this one. The
Yeah,
casuals will never accept him because he's a loser, and the smarks will never accept that he's not the man, so they aren't going to accept it when he does.
that's the like just straight up dumb storytelling. Like, hey, Roman finally conquered the beast.
Yeah.
Oh, and right now it's we don't know who will be Money in the Bank, whether it's Braun or KO.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a match earlier in the night,
Yeah.
whoever has the Money in the Bank, don't do that shit, please. Like that's just asinine. Like, no.
Yeah, or if you have to do that shit, just go with the rip it really off. Have Roman beat Lesnar easily, and then have Roman beat the person who cashes in.
Yeah, like that. I would accept that.
Yeah.
Don't have Lesnar or Roman win and be declared New Universal Champion.
Mm-hmm.
God bless you again.
No problem.
And then have be cashed in on and lose it. Like, don't do anything other than that. literally anything. I don't care if Brock wins
Hmm.
and gets cash in the next Monday because that's, according to rumors, that's he's scheduled for SummerSlam and the Monday Night Raw afterward. Anything, just to not have Roman win and get a million cash in on. Please don't
Yeah.
do literally anything other than that.
Hmm. Yeah, but after that, there was pretty much nothing much else for it. For New Day defeat the Bar to win the tag team tournament and get a shot at the Bludgeon Brothers, who squashed 3 local jobbers, and is what it is.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Bludgeon Brothers as a tag team?
I think they work as a tag team because there's nothing wrong with just having a dominant monster tag team running around. It's what the author's opinion should be. So
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah. And honestly, it's one of those where it's just right for both guys because Rowan has his moments as a singles guy. Harper has his moments as a singles guy, but they're a good tag team nonetheless. And eventually just splitting them up for those ones. I've always said that it was bullshit that people wanted Harper to be in the WrestleMania title match at Mania 33. That was absolute. It's the Harper was very good in the Orton versus Wyatt feud. He held it together. But we're
that wasn't the story they were telling.
Title match at WrestleMania here. If you're in the world title match at WrestleMania, no matter what else happens in your career, you are a first ballot Hall of Famer. That just being in that match makes you. And you're going to give that match to Luke Harper because he was pretty good for a couple months. What the fuck there? If it was Rowan, no one would have said that same thing. And that is it, isn't it? They wanted him in that match because it's Brody Lee, not Luke Harper. Fuck you, Vince. And that was just worthless.
Well, a lot to digest there.
Yeah.
I love Luke Harper and Brody Lee. At the same time, I see your point of I agree. The story they were telling weren't the Luke Harper story.
Mm-hmm.
It was Randy and that match. They go from the sperm of Randy Orton's entrance to bugs show up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they were trying to go for, but it didn't work.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not like it's just a good match, but again, if it was a lesser match, then yeah, put Orton, Wyatt, and Harper in the match and go for it.
Yeah,
but
if it wasn't for
the WWE title match at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Again, like I said, there's a lot to digest.
Mm-hmm.
WWE Championship matches, WrestleMania, and Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's mostly the fact that there are some things that, even if you're willing to give a little bit of filler sometimes on it, some things have to be all killer, no filler. And the person who gets the WrestleMania World Title match, that has to be. That's not the place to take a flyer on somebody who's doing well. They have to be solidified because if you have that on your plaque, you are automatically a legend.
Well, to some degree, yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as much as I, at the time, I kind of wanted it to be Luke Harper versus Bray. I never wanted the triple threat thing that everybody was yearning over.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't the story they were telling.
Yeah, but it's still one of those where once Orton won the Rumble and Bray won the title, it was pretty much down to those two. And
Yeah.
again, with that spot on it, when the very worst person you can think of who had that honor to their name would be King Kong Bundy, and even he's still, yeah, he's a perfectly valuable Hall of Famer. That's not something you fuck around with.
You dare besmirch King Kong Bundy. I met King Kong Bundy when I was a kid. That motherfucker was huge. Like, holy shit. Like, I think I was 6, 7, something at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. Like, fucker was huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not saying he's bad. Heck, it's the opposite. Because if he's the worst that they have in that role, and I'm pretty sure he might be the only person eligible who hasn't either been in the Hall of Fame or isn't inevitably going to be in the Hall of Fame, they fought for the world title at WrestleMania on their net record.
Yeah. Lawrence Taylor wasn't a
difference. I'm not talking about main event WrestleMania. I'm talking about the world title reign at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Just trying to.
Yeah.
My little useful knowledge of encyclopedia shit. Like, who has for the championship?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, either they're in or they're like I guess there's no first ballot.
Yeah.
WWE.
Yeah, I think the only person who probably won't be in is CM Punk. And that's not because CM Punk doesn't deserve it, but because CM Punk will probably there's no doubt in my mind Punk has a clause in his will with the 1972 U.S. Olympic team saying, no descendant of mine can ever put me in the Hall of Fame.
But did he main event?
He had the world title match. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. See, that's where I'm. Sorry, I confused myself for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Are we talking WWE or?
I'm talking WWE for WrestleMania World Title match.
So that excludes like the Daniel Bryan.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you're right there as far as my memory is going at the moment. Either they're in or they will be like obvious like.
Yeah, because it would be stuff like you can't really think of anybody who won't be in. Maybe after that one, maybe you have Sid or something like that. But even Sid's like King Kong Bundy, where they belong in the Hall of Fame, so eventually they'll get in.
No, Sid's going in.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Sid's going in.
Yeah. But other than that, everybody else, Hogan in, King Kong Bundy probably will be in eventually, Andre in, Savage in, DiBiase in, Warrior in, Slaughter in, Flair in twice, Yokozuna in, Bret Hart in, Lex Luger probably will eventually be in, Diesel in, Shawn in, Undertaker, when he says he's in, he's in. Sid probably will be in. Austin in. Rock will be in when he says he's in. Big Show will be in eventually. Foley in. Triple H eventually will be in. Jericho eventually will be in, depending on whether he goes to Impact or not. Lesnar will be in eventually. Angle in. Eddie in. Cena eventually will be in. JBL will eventually be in. Orton eventually in. And Miz secretly will probably be in when his career ends. Punk, if he allowed them to, he'll be in. Daniel Bryan will eventually be in. Seth Rollins eventually in. Roman eventually in. There really is no one on that list who isn't a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah. A current Hall of Famer, or that's where they're heading.
Yeah. And even on the world title match on it, Booker T's in. The only people on the list on this one would be who probably won't be in the Hall of Fame are Del Rio, Swagger, and the elephant in the room of Chris Benoit.
Yeah, Benoit's never getting in.
Yeah.
And like you said, elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not going to elaborate on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because how can you know what happened and also say, well,
yeah,
he deserves to be in?
mm-hmm.
Like there's no.
Yeah. Personally, though, I've always been steadfast on the people who say for Benoit to be in. Just use the loophole there. If you want Chris Benoit in the Hall of Fame, then great. He was inducted in 2012 with the rest of the Four Horsemen stable. He's in the Hall of Fame. You're happy. And if that means that Paul Roma can say he's a Hall of Famer, well, good for him.
Yeah.
And if it's and if you don't want Benoit in the Hall of Fame, great. It was just the 4 people that they inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2012 who were in for the Four Horsemen. You have your answer right there.
It's such a touchy subject that I have my views.
Yeah.
I think just like everybody else has their views.
Mm-hmm.
Something I'd rather not touch on.
Yeah. Yeah, we can safely say that we're an anti-child murder podcast here, people. So
we'll say fuck, and shit.
Yeah.
We're not PG, but there's some things that we don't.
Yeah, just to make sure that you're clear on our views on that. Child murder, a bad thing.
Bad, very bad.
Mm-hmm. But after that, it's pretty much most of what was on this week was pretty much stated for it. So
have you checked out New Japan?
I haven't checked out enough of New Japan. Hopefully, I'll have some more time to on my vacation. But between the fact that I have 10 days and about 22 video games from a $5 sale at work, that might not be a good thing for it. So, especially since
I gave you my subscription just so you could watch.
I do use the subscription. I'm not saying that, but my Xbox and my PS4 and my Amazon Fire Stick are all on the same TV.
I want to cry.
Hey, I gave you a Global Wrestling Network. I gave you a Global Wrestling Network thing for it, so at least I paid for them on this. But
yeah, that reminded me so much. I'm definitely old enough because I did it, and you're old enough. The video swapping shit that we used to do.
Yeah.
Like, I have this video, you have that video.
Mm-hmm.
And so I give you my password to New Japan. And
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also, but yeah, I do watch the New Japan World on it, but it's hard when I only have so many hours in the day, so.
That's what vacation is for.
Mhm.
10 days? Like, that's a lot of wrestling to watch.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
just a little commentary. New Japan, the G1 Climax, since last we spoke, and in case people are a day or two behind, it's been, I brought up earlier about Ishii versus Omega getting a
Mhm.
5.5 from Meltzer.
Yeah.
It was a good match, 5.5 on a quote unquote Meltzer scale. Or
Mhm.
scale. Like, yeah, I wouldn't rate it that.
Mhm.
Everything is going according to plan, I guess.
Mhm.
Right now, and I'm always a day behind because
Yeah.
I can't watch. I can, but I don't watch
Mhm.
live. Good lord,
Yeah.
4 o'clock in the morning is friggin' early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, there's been a lot of good matches. Like
Mhm.
a lot of good. They're making Jay White a star. It's okay. I'm cool with it.
Yep. Yeah, he does well to support all the knife perverts throughout the world by giving them a hero to build around, so it's good for it.
And I became a fan once when I like months ago. Switchblade's coming back. Oh fuck no, not Switchblade. And then come to find out the new Switchblade is Jay White. Like, oh,
Mhm.
okay. Juice Robinson, and I'm on record like
Mhm.
years ago. Like I do not. If you don't know who Juice Robinson is, he was in NXT as CJ Parker,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
couldn't stand Juice Robinson. I've turned around. Like he's actually really good.
Yeah. He's the best furry who plans to go balls deep on his fan base that out there. So, which is a problem that they're taking away that as New Japan starts to go PG, which will likely mean most of the New Japan fan base will say, "This sucks. Bring back the swearing. Bring back
Oh,
the middle fingers. Bring back Tamatanga beating the shit out of a fan."
are we talking about the same report of where they're trying to run their horizons?
Yeah.
And okay, and that was kind of specifically related to Jericho.
Hmm.
And see that will diminish some of the aspects.
Hmm.
The people that are drawn to it for the fuck you, motherfucker,
Yeah.
and the the bird like that, just in itself, like that does kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah. And
the
that's
in
really,
ring is still going to be the in ring stuff, but also
yeah.
in the in ring stuff is you have that fuck you, bitch,
Hmm.
and you hear it, and I'm not sure how I feel about that yet because that
Yeah.
report just came out today. They're going to try to tone it down.
Yeah. Well,
Ah,
that's really a problem on this one where there are some things that New Japan can do to weaken things on it. To be more globally built on this one. There's the yeah, maybe they shouldn't be dropping F bombs during matches. They definitely shouldn't be up and wasting a fan for no reason on it. And for to a lesser extent, there's things like, you know, maybe they might want to make some women who aren't just valets for people on it if they're trying to build to a larger audience. Because really, if people are saying that New Japan is better in that aspect than WWE, when WWE builds the Women's Revolution and makes you remember it, and all New Japan can give us is Miho Abe and Peter, yeah, that's a problem there.
There's no women in New Japan.
Yeah, they have their valets.
Well, they're the valets.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no women's wrestling in New Japan.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is where if they do it right, like I wouldn't just because that's what makes them kind of like the ECW of the like '96 era.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, this is different. Like, oh shit, this is violent. They cuss.
Yep.
And I understand like trying to globalize and make as much money as possible and want to appease the audience, but don't water it down so much that you lose your.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
but that's one of the pluses as well, because a lot of the things that New Japan does aren't stuff that really changes it. I mean, are the OG Bullet Club going to be worse because they're not dropping F-bombs? No, because the OG Bullet Club sucks anyway.
Damn it! You beat me to the punchline. Mm-hmm. We had the same punchline. Oh no, they're not going to be worse because they already suck. Mm-hmm. Damn it.
Yes, and that's one of the things that New Japan is done. Even more than Juice Robinson going from CJ Parker to one of the hottest baby faces in this one. It's more surprising with the Gorillas of Destiny and thinking, we saw this guy in WWE. How the hell did they make Camacho watchable? At least CJ Parker was very talented, even if he was annoying and grating. Camacho there was just nothing there with the guy.
This goes back to like the very first part of the conversation of the takeover in Kevin Steen. CJ Parker broke, aka Juice Robinson, broke Kevin Owens' nose and Kevin Owens' debut match at Takeover, May 20th, 2015. Mm-hmm. Broke his fucking nose. Mm-hmm. Also, Juice Robinson is known as fuckable.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's still a case where at least Parker was talented. He had something there. Camacho had nothing.
Yeah.
And he somehow watchable there.
Camacho was like, okay, you're riding a lowrider bike, like, okay. Mm-hmm. That was Camacho's WWE thing. Like, okay, mm-hmm. You're Hispanic and when you ride a lowrider bicycle, mm-hmm. Cool. I guess. Like, like if they really want to go to the like expanding market of actually expanding the market, you're going to lose a lot of market if you want to go the WWE route.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. I don't worry good. But some of the appeal of New Japan is it's not WWE. It's not watered down. It's not for kids. It's not. My 9-year-old loves it. Like we watch it.
Yeah, but that's also the case where the appeal for for New Japan wasn't just that it's not WWE on those things, but rather because it's so good. If it's really all about the matches are so amazing in New Japan that you have to watch every show on it to see what they're going to do next for this awesome match. Is it really that much difference from hearing they can't say the F-bomb there? Is that really going to change things? If the matches are so quality is so important for why New Japan's awesome, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't, but I see where it might, if that makes sense. It shouldn't at all.
Yeah.
We're two different planes.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see if they start, can't do this anymore, can't do that. Rules and regulations.
Yeah.
Like if they start doing that, I can see where it might be a problem later down the road.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. But honestly, I just think that if it's going to be if it's that's what's going to change people from New Japan being awesome to kill New Japan, then there's real problems.
Yeah. That's isn't that where you kind of look at the fan versus the content?
Yeah, and that's really the problem on it, because that's going to be the big issue on it, where if New Japan is trying to open things on it, there shouldn't be cases like, for instance, last week, them saying Bullet Club has a cologne out, and thinking
that was the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was.
Yeah. When they said that, like I think I may have said, that in the Unilever offices, makers of Axe body spray said, "We're off the hook! We're off the hook! We're no longer the scent of incels everywhere."
Hey, I wore Axe back in the day. What are you trying to say?
Yes.
I did not mean to rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
I wore Axe. Mm-hmm. Shut up.
Yes.
I forget what. I almost said flavor, but what scent?
Well, it's mostly the fact that Axe body spray went from being the body spray to type awkward people to, if we wear Axe body spray and we don't have to take a shower, and that's going to be what Bullet Club cologne is going to be like.
Granny, you and I tonight are page for page, because I was about to say some of these fuckers, like, I don't have to take a shower. I'll just spray Axe like all over me. Like, there's a difference. Like,
yeah,
Axe is not a shower. Like, Axe is not bathing your ass.
Yeah. And it's just a big problem on this one, where there is the issue.
What's the issue?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you say where's the issue or there's the issue?
Oh, but it's going to be the issue for it, where that's really the issue with All In, where on the one hand it's a big deal on it, but on the other hand, that thing is going to be ruined solely because of the fans who go there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going also to the same thing as the Madison Square Garden in water.
Yeah.
Like it I don't want to say ruin, but like you just know what to expect, I guess, from the crowd itself.
Yeah.
I mean, can you not already in your head hear fuck WWE, fuck WWE, fuck WWE chant?
Yeah.
That's I can. I know it's to that kind of effect of or fuck Roman Reigns, fuck Roman Reigns, fuck. They're doing the exact same thing that they despise.
Yeah.
They're not appreciating what's presented to them in the match. And they are chanting something that has nothing to do with the show at all.
Yeah.
and I just know those kind of, at least to some degree, of similarity of
Hmm.
those kind of chants of taking away from,
Yeah.
if you want to chant, we're all in, we're all in, we're, chant that shit throughout the show.
Yeah.
Fine. But you know that it's going to be anti WWE chants.
Yeah.
And so you're doing exactly.
Yeah, and that's really the problem because it's just when you have a show built on it's a Bullet Club party and Vince McMahon can't come, it eventually becomes you're going to have the people who are anti WWE. You're going to have the Bullet Club fans, which are basically, if you want to tell who the bronies are in pro wrestling, you'll see them by their Bullet Club shirt, and you'll have the people who aren't even fans but are just those Szechuan sauce dripping motherfuckers who just thought it was a cool shirt at Hot Topic and are there because they think it's cool. Who probably haven't seen wrestling before.
Hey, and I have to clarify because a Violent Wrestling podcast, another podcast I do, um, my icon, my avatar, whatever you want to call it, is Bullet Club. But
Yeah.
it's Prince Devitt. Like, it's not the new
Mm-hmm.
generation of Bullet Club.
Yeah.
And it's so. Because I don't ever try throwing anybody under the bus, but for fuck's sake,
Mm-hmm.
like you can't be anti everything, but some people find a way,
Yeah.
like that they're never happy.
Yeah. And that's really the problem with the Bullet Club on it because on paper, Kenny Omega is probably the best wrestler in the world right now. The Young Bucks are the best tag team in the world right now. But their style
Can I interject and put
okay?
Kenny Omega and Roman Reigns 1A, 1B?
I could see that absolutely. But at the same time, the style of the Elite basically goes right to the trolls, and not just the smarks for it, just the trolls who just want to watch the world burn.
And the only reason I wouldn't make Roman head of the class is the fucking story, the booking. Roman, and I'll go and say it, and you can, not you, because
Yeah.
we're friends, but anybody listen, unfriend me, unfollow me. I don't give a flying fuck. Roman's really good.
Yeah.
He's a really good performer.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten so much better on the mic. Like there's so much like nitpicking of detractors. Like there's differences obviously between a Roman match in WWE and a Kenny Omega match.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously there's going to be differences.
Yeah. But it's even then.
For crying out loud, they're the argument is who is 1A and who is 1B.
Okay.
They are the best going today.
Yeah. Say the hot take that Roman may be 1A in that case simply.
Oh,
if you
shit.
switched
Granny Japan, put himself out there.
God. Yeah. You switch Roman Reigns to New Japan right now.
Yeah, if you do a trade right now, Roman Reigns is the bee's knees.
At Ross. He would, but if you switch Kenny WWE wrestlers. They're best bout machines, but outside of that, they are what they are.
And I don't speak on this much, but for fuck's sake, can we find any other reason to not like Reigns? Like, oh well, his shoes were too, tied too tight. Like his boots weren't. Like, you're literally fucking just. Roman Reigns is a star. He's good at wrestling.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it just goes to the same thing where I've always been steadfast for my reason that the Roman hate happened, and why it's shocking that now, finally, after Charlotte has kind of held back Becky Lynch in the storyline, that we have the reason that Roman was hated and Charlotte hadn't gotten this much hate until now. And that was in 2013. Everyone was so pissed off at WWE about the Daniel Bryan mishandling that the fans rose up as one and made a vow to ourselves. If you won't give us Daniel Bryan, we're going to destroy your next one male and your next one female superstar. And everyone knew in 2013 that Roman Reigns was the next one. So they decided, he's done. We're going to destroy him. We vow he will be the blood for Daniel Bryan's misery on this one. And Charlotte never got that hatred because in 2013, everyone decided the female next one was Eva Marie. So they vowed to destroy Eva Marie instead.
Don't you be with this person, already everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the whole Batista coming back thing. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Like that. In the history of bad timing, that was bad timing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So bad. Like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that was just the case where they just didn't understand that the fans had said, no, we want this person and only this person, and we won't accept anyone else.
Yeah.
And that's the whole issue. They haven't said who they want. They just said not Roman.
And then how everything, like if you wanted to get the reaction you're getting now of there's a very small segment like you and I of I like Roman. I'm not like on this side of Roman, but I'm also not on this side of Roman. And I did a left and right thing. I'm like I like Roman. I don't think he's the best thing ever, but I also don't think he's the worst thing ever. I'm in that small line. And what kind of ruined the Batista thing was, instead of him being a surprise entrant, they motherfucking announced that in December.
Yeah.
The year before. Batista, makes his debut at Royal Rumble. Like it just, that's just bad writing. If he would have been a surprise entrant, even with the Daniel Bryan push, okay, a surprise entrant speaks, hey, Batista's coming back at Royal Rumble next month. That you right there fuck shit up, basically.
Mhm.
I've always said that that was their biggest mistake. Whoever won the Rumble was them announcing that Batista would be back for
Mhm.
the Rumble. Like that was their biggest flaw.
Mhm. Mhm.
It just randomly his music hit and
Mhm.
he came out and won. That's a big difference, man.
Mhm.
It's not like Dave Batista is going to bring
Mhm.
viewership necessarily. Like
Mhm.
it's not going to draw eyeballs. Oh shit, Batista's going to be at Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Not on the network.
Mhm.
You know, free for first month subscribers.
Mhm.
Like, why announce that shit? Because
Yeah.
he didn't show up until the Royal Rumble. Like,
Mhm.
what were you thinking in this process?
Yeah.
And then have him do. I got my face. I feel I don't know what I am, and then bye bye.
Mhm.
Like literally, bye bye. I'm out.
Yeah.
It was so miscalculated.
Mhm. Yeah.
You sound like you're getting sleepy on me.
Yeah.
I can tell with the I don't know you too well. And yeah,
What? Oh.
I can tell. I can tell when you're getting sleepy on me.
Well, yeah, but basically, it just is what it is for those ones, and we pretty much discussed everything about the week in the sport. So probably what's best to go in next week when we should have our second guest on the show, and we will have SummerSlam predictions, and hopefully there'll be more to talk about next week. So until next week, this is Thomas
You
S.K.
want
Green, and this
you
is
want to give a spoiler of who the next
oh,
guest might be?
well, the next guest will probably be Andrew McHale from Crab Wrestling and Nova Pro fame. So our first
Oh,
semi-famous guest.
holy shit!
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit!
Mm-hmm.
Um, make sure to check out Violent Wrestling Podcast Wednesdays,
Mm-hmm.
10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Uh,
Yep. And make
every
sure
Wednesday.
to also check out Shooting the Breeze on Saturdays, who are now have an excuse to start advertising us. So, and
Yes.
before we go on this one, the other news for it that may or may not be a spoiler, but is a pretty big one. During the Mae Young Classic, in a match, Tegan Knox hurt her leg. Reports are that it's the opposite leg to her ACL tear, so there's a chance her career could still be continued. We're wishing him the best. So until that next, then this is Whacked Out Wrestling signing off.